So our practice today, Namaste, welcome, is Chandra Namaskar, lunar practice. We have a full moon in Cancer today. And so our practice is going to be connecting with that energy of the moon, which is it's feminine, nurturing, cooling, more fluid, designed to bring about harmony. So we'll be doing our practice from left to right on our mat. So make sure you can position your mat. Most of the time we'll be working from, and if you find you're facing the other way, just switch it up. It's really hard for me to do the physics of what it looks like on my mat compared to what the physics are of it looking like on your mat. Let's start by coming into a Sukhasana seat, comfortable seat with your legs crossed. Let's raise the right palm and bring the thumb in slightly so the thumb is slightly bent at the knuckle. And then your left palm in front of your navel or your abdomen, wherever it feels comfortable. And then let's curl up the ring finger and the little finger. So the thumb and peace fingers of the left palm are extended and the right hand is next to your shoulder. The ring and little finger of your left hand slightly raised or curled, however it feels for you. Some of us can curl them more easily, some of us can extend them. So this is Chandra mudra, the mudra or the energetic seal to represent the moon. This moon that we have now is a very special moon because it's the moon, the last full moon of the year. As we move into a new year very soon. So we're going to close off this past year and look forward to the new year beginning. With a full moon in Cancer, Cancer is a watery sign. And therefore there's harmony in the lunar energy and the element of water, Jal, through this astrological sign. Our mantra for today is Som Somaya Namaha. May the light of the moon be illuminating, enlightening, shining brightly above. Som Somaya Namaha. Connecting to the deity of the moon and the sweet nectar of the full moon, which enriches and nourishes us. And after the year that we have experienced, this nourishment, enrichment, replenishment, coming here at the bookend of the year, will help restore us. The year started with a lunar eclipse in Cancer. It's ending with a full moon in Cancer. This planetary esoteric balance has bookended this year. The breath that we will be connecting with is Ujjayi, ocean sounding breath, which is slightly constricted at the back of the throat. So as you breathe in through your nose, you constrict the back of your throat and it makes a sound that's a whooshing sound, the ocean sounding breath, the sound that you hear when you place a seashell against your ear. The sound you make if you were fogging up or misting up a mirror. Closing your eyes. And if your right hand becomes, or your right arm begins to ache after a while, you can always rest your right hand on your knee. You may recognize this gesture of the right hand as abhyasa. No fear. Fearlessly treading forward into the new year, into the new lunar cycle. The full moon in Cancer represents a coming home to yourself, your truth, your authenticity, your connection with yourself, your connection with your family and community. Continuing with your ujjayi breath, this ocean sounding breath. Constriction at the back of the throat. And during our practice today, we will bring to mind reflections on the year past, intention for the year to come. Full moons often represent closure, completion, and manifestation. Som Somaya Namaha. Som Somaya Namaha. Som Somaya Namaha. Som Somaya Namaha. Hands together in Namaskar at the heart. Om. 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 Namaste and welcome to your practice. A practice I am very much anticipating today. Let's start by bringing the soles of our feet together in Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. And we know that often when we create this expansive space here, it represents the fullness of the moon. We're working with the Swadhisthana chakra at the sacrum here. The Swadhisthana chakra has the full moon within which lies the crescent moon. Let's place our hands on our shins or ankles, or interlace our fingers between our toes, wherever you can reach comfortably. Lengthen through your crown, open through your heart. As you exhale, making the ujjayi sound and folding forward, exhaling and folding forward. Let's take 3 full breaths here. Inhaling to rise. Exhaling to fold. Inhaling to rise. Exhaling to fold. Inhale to rise. Exhale to fold. And now let's soften through our crown, our neck, our shoulders. Sitting here in stillness in Baddha Konasana. Breathing deeply, connecting with the element of water, jal, this watery emotional quality for our practice today, for our breath, our heart space, our sacral area. On your next breath, begin to inhale and rise up, bringing your knees in together Let's place your hands on either side and then windshield wiper the knees one way. Let them rest there for a moment. Then inhale through center, exhale over to the other side. And we'll do this 3 times. So twice more, inhaling to center and then exhaling as you release the knees. Coming back to center. Let's swing our legs around and come onto our knees. And if you need to pad here, use your folded blanket or cushion. You can either pad in the inside of your ankles, underneath your knees, or the backs of your knees, whatever feels comfortable for you. Sitting here in Vajrasana. Let's reach up and open our arms. Take your hands to the back of your neck. Perhaps you clasp the back of your neck or the lower part of your head. Opening here. Exhale, let's go over to the left just for a moment. Inhale, center. Exhale over to the right. Inhale, center. Now let's go twice more in each direction. Keeping that top elbow lifted. Inhaling to rise. Exhaling to lean over. And I'm kind of losing count here, so I'm going to come to stillness. If you lose count, not to worry. I often do. I just go with the flow. That's today's practice. Let's bring our elbows in together. Open them out, in together. Perhaps you lower your chin. Again, 3 times here. Now let's release the back of our hands, bring our fingers to our shoulders, and then let's rotate elbows in one direction 3 times, and then 3 times in the reverse direction. And now let's see if we can kayak them. So swaying through. And then back to stillness. Open out your hands. Let's curl in. So let's do this, what we did earlier with our mudra here. Palms flat. Curl up your ring and little finger. Inhale, reach up above your crown, bring them together. Namaskar down past the eyebrow center, the heart space, and let's form a triangle here towards the lap. Now here, this is called, we have 2 variations. This is where we're going to have the second mudra that we're going to use today. There's 2 variations of this. So with our fingers all aligned, this is the trimurthi mudra. A mudra for transition and change, trimurthi. If we fold in our middle ring and little finger and just have our index and thumb connected, this is the yoni mudra, the mudra for creation, for birthing, for creativity. So trimurthi for transition, yoni mudra for creativity. This is the feelings that we're going to be, the energy that we're going to be working with over the next few days in this transition from one year end to the start of the next year. Let's do that cycle now. Arms out to the side, fingers so gently curled, hands above your crown. Exhale through center, and then let's come into either your trimurthi or your creative mudra, your yoni mudra. Whichever one feels appropriate for you today. One more time. So I come down in my trimurthi and then move into my yoni mudra. And then open out your arms. Let's bring our hands directly to the earth. Child's pose here, eyebrows center resting on the earth. We're going to flow from child's pose, balasana, into bhujangasana, and then into table brahmasana. Inhaling, slide through for bhujangasana. Press through your hands into table brahmasana. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, flow through for cobra. Exhaling back into table. And flow like this for 3 rounds. I heard a noise. So let's go. You all know I have funny shaped ears, so my earpiece always falls out. From child's pose into cobra, back into table. So you're cycling here through, and I know I've done more. That's because I lost my earpiece. Then back into table. Cat cow here, Marjariasana, Bitliasana, lift your tailbone, lift your heart space. Marjariasana, and then exhale into Bitliasana by rounding through your spine, starting the movement of the tailbone so that you can feel the flow along the spine. And remembering to connect with Ujjayi breath. Take a moment here, and then let's come back to neutral spine here. Inhale, lift your right fingertips up to the sky. Exhale, thread them under your left, bringing your shoulder down, but we're not staying here today. We're going to flow 3 times, sweeping this right arm under and then up. And then release that right hand to the earth. Let's go directly to the left side. Sweeping it under, barely grazing the earth with your shoulder or ear. Imagine that you are the waves of the ocean, visualizing your body as a moving body of water. And then releasing your hand back down to the earth. Take a moment here. Come onto your forearms. So your shoulders and elbows are aligned, fingers spread wide. Press into the earth with your fingertips. And let's reach out long with our right leg. Flex the foot so that the toes are pointing down and you're pushing out through the heel. Bend into that knee. Extend it long. And now we're going to add a little bit more movement to it. As we extend, let's lower the crown to the earth and lift that leg up a little bit higher. Extending that leg and bringing the eyebrow center towards the earth. And that should be 3 times. Let's give it one more go. And then bend into that right knee, bring it to the earth. Now, if your shoulders are feeling it, sit back in child's pose and take your arms alongside your body, palms face up. Just to release that, the strength that you're connecting with. And if it feels a little too intense, ease back and rest in child's pose. Ujjayi breath here, so that you can hear it in your ears as if you have a seashell against your ear. Think of this place as home. Think of yourself. When you think of Cancer, you think of the crab retreating, finding haven and safety within its shell. Think of the place where you can retreat to in which to build resilience, strength, capacity, and then venture out into the world from that place. Let's come back onto our forearms if you are resting back in child's pose. Now let's lift the left leg long behind us. Flex again at the heel so the toes are pointing down. Bend into that knee. Let's practice this a few times. Moving from extension to a bend in the knee. And now let's add in more movement. So this time as we extend the leg long, bring the eyebrow center to the earth and lift your leg a little bit higher. Perhaps you point through your toes to help you here. Three times wherever you are, and I feel like I need to do it one more time because I'm sure I did it 4 times on the other side. And then let's bring that left knee to the mat. Again, your option to come back into child's pose with your arms alongside your body. Take a full breath here. So we're kind of building up very slowly through this flow. I'm still cool in my body. And if I start feeling hot, or I feel like I'm creating too much dynamic heat or energy, then I will either slow down my movements, or I will take a variation that is less intense for my body. I want to maintain this cool energy throughout. Inhale, lift your gaze. Come back onto all fours. We're going to move into Ekpada Raju Kapotasana, pigeon pose. So you can come through to it in table, or you can, if you find mountain easier to access pigeon pose through, please use that as your option. I'm simply going to take my right knee towards my right hand and then reach back with my left leg. Now I'm going to check out how I feel here and what I might need, whether I need to make a variation or adaptation. If having your left leg is extended feels too challenging, you can always bend into that left knee and sit on your right hip with your right foot folded forward. So this can be a little variation of, we call this the deer variation for pigeon. If that feels inaccessible, you can always come onto your back and cross your right ankle over your left leg. Figure of 4. This is supine pigeon, Supta Kapotasana. So this is always an option. And then if you're taking this option, you take your hands to the back of your left leg, and then you feel experience sensation in your right hip in the same way that we will here. So that's a bit of a little breakdown for you, just to help you find your variation. Now, if you're lying in reclined pigeon, you can do the same actions with your arms as we are doing here. I want you to lift your left arm up to the sky. Take your gaze up towards there. Reach behind you. So if you're lying down, you're reaching overhead. If you're in this variation, you're looking behind you. Inhale to reach up. Exhale to fold down towards the earth. Now, if you're on your back here in reclined pigeon, hug in your left thigh towards you. One more breath, then inhale to extend the arm up, reach back, reaching up again, exhale to fold forward. Keeping that right hand there for support, or if you wish to extend that too, you may. I'm maintaining that close connection with my right hand and the earth for the moment. Inhale. Let's flow one more time with your breath. And now we can all come into variation of pigeon. Reach your right arm forward, coming into this sleeping variation. If you are on your back, yogis, you will have been reaching overhead and bringing your arm down. So you will still be creating this wave. And now when we finish, those of us who are in the prone position will be lying down with our arms extended. If we're lying on our backs, we simply hug in this left leg. And now, while we're here in pigeon, in reclined pigeon, or whichever variation we're in this sleeping variation, Ekpada Raja Kapatasan. Think of one word for this past year that encapsulates or sums up this year for you. Perhaps one word will be sufficient. If you feel like you need a short phrase, perhaps connect with a phrase. And this may be positive or negative. It is a reflection of your experience in this last year. And now, oops, sorry puppy. Now this is when your emotions will begin to simmer, to rise, to bubble up. With this full moon, it's an emotional moon. We will feel waves of emotion as we move through this cycle. Moon is one that brings us home to ourselves. So it brings us into connection with our emotions. It helps us to dive deeper into the depths of our emotions. Only by feeling our emotions, allowing them to flow, enabling us to connect with them, can we take away learning, experience, something that we can then carry forward, or something that we can learn from and release. But unless we face our fears, our worries, our anxieties, our insecurities, we will not be able to learn from them or take this learning forward with us. One more breath here. I know we've been here for a while. Let's lift our gaze if we're lying forward, and then bring our hands either side of our knees. And we're going to swap legs here. So let's come back in to table. And if you're extended, let's take your right leg behind and just bring the toes, ball of the foot to the earth, and reach out through that right leg, because that will help extend it. If you are lying on your back for this one, when you release your leg, perhaps you reach out long with that leg as well. And then just shake out your hips for a moment. So remember, we're in one or two. We have two variations of pigeon at the moment. Back into table, and we're going to bring the left knee forward this time. And reach back with our right leg long, or at an angle, whichever feels accessible for us. And if we're lying on our back, let's bring the left ankle onto the right thigh, just below the knee. This left foot you might want to adjust. Rising with the crown, as if you are the crest of a wave here. Som Somaya Namaha. Inhale, let's reach up with the right hand. Exhale to reach behind. Inhale up. Exhale, fold down towards the earth. Inhale to rise up. Exhale to reach overhead or behind you. So you'll see I have this motion with my right hand, which we had at the beginning of our practice for our Chandra mudra. Exhale to reach up and over and come down into a forward fold. Sleeping swan, rising up, reaching back, up and over. And one more time, wherever we are. And then bringing both arms extended, rest on the earth in front of us. Coming into our sleeping swan variation. And if we are on our back, this is the moment for us to really hug in that right thigh, right shin. If you are in the Sutta variation, the reclined variation with your back on the earth, flex the left foot. So while you're here in your pigeon, Ekpada Raju Raja Kaputasan, King Pigeon. Thinking about what it is that you have learned from 2020, the year gone by. The lessons that we have experienced directly or observed within our society, within our community. Things that we know we want to cleanse, to release, to wash away. Taking the insights from that learning to come into unity with ourselves, into unity with our community, to repair relationships with one another. And what we have learned in this past year that will enable us to become more fluid, more harmonious, more balanced in our relationships with one another. Some of us have more work to do. Some of us have done this work for many years already. So this lesson that you can release and let go. One more breath here. Inhale to lift your gaze. Walk your hands back towards you. And then let's come back into table. Extend that left leg long, tuck the toes, push out through the heel of that hand. And let's all come into table. If you're lying on the earth, to come up into table, Bhamarasana. Tuck your toes. Inhale, lift your tailbone. Mountain Parvatasana. Let's cycle through the feet. Sway the hips. And perhaps you bring a really deep bend to each knee as you do this. And then coming into momentary stillness. And then let's walk our hands back towards our feet, coming to the top of our mat, back of our mat rather here. Shuffle your feet in slightly together if they're a little bit wider than you'd like them for balance. Bend into your knees. Bring your hands to your shins and let's rise up halfway. Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Begin to uncurl your spine, sliding your hands up your legs. And then when your hands get to your knees, let's rotate the knees one way, then the other way. So I'll turn around so you can see me. And then continue this unfurling journey all the way to come up to standing. Turn to the long edge of your mat. Now, depending on where you are on your mat, we want to be standing on the left side of our mat. For me, that's the bottom end of my mat as I face you. And there to my right is the rest of the mat and the top end of my mat. Let's bring the big toes to touch, heels apart, or have your feet at hip distance wide so that you can feel balanced and stable here. Coming into your Tadasana, standing mountain. Moving into a Chandra Namaskar sequence here. Let's bring the left palm to the sacrum just below the navel and the right hand to the shoulder, palm facing forward in Abhyasa. Three Ujjayi breaths here. Now I invite you to connect with the word for your intention for the coming year or the coming lunar cycle. Your sankalpa, your heartfelt prayer or desire or need or intention for the coming year. So for me, last year, the word that I had was healing. And now going forward, I am considering the word or the energy that I would want to nurture for the coming year or lunar cycle. I haven't quite connected with it yet. I will do so on New Year's Day myself personally. But this is a time to begin to explore what that might be. Take out your arms to the side. Hopefully you've got enough space. Inhale, reach overhead. Bring your hands down past your eyebrow center, your heart space to the sacrum area. Coming into your yoni mudra or your trimurthi mudra, whichever one you want. And then let's go twice more. Hands together above the crown, exhaling down towards the sacrum, coming into a creativity mudra and a transition mudra for the new year. So as you can see, I go through trimurthi, transition into creativity. And when you've done your 3 cycles here, let's step out across our mat into Tadasana star pose, legs and feet wide, toes pointing forward. Inhale, reach up and over. As you exhale, bend into your knees, turn your knees out, turn your toes out. And again, coming into your mudra, your yoni, your trimurthi mudra. Inhale, straighten up, reach up. Exhale, namaskar, down towards the sacrum into your trimurthi, creativity. So moving from Tadasana into Devyasana with your mudra. Traveling through namaskar, the eyebrow center, your intuition, your inner knowing, your heart space, your connection and relationship with others, your sacrum area. So you pass through the Manipur for your determination, your commitment, and your sacral area for transition, for creativity. Now I've been talking, so again I lose where I am. They just catch up with me. And now let's turn the right toes up towards the top of the mat. Come and turn into your high lunge here. Now, if you want to bring that left knee directly to the earth, you can, or you can stay high in a high lunge, yogi's choice. Inhale, crescent, Anjaneyasana, arms reach up. Exhale, reach forward with your upper body and your crown, arms come alongside you, lean over your right leg. Now you can stay here connected with the ball of your left foot on the earth, or you can hop slightly and come into Virabhadrasana 3. So find what feels comfortable for you and then lower back onto those toes. So I'm feeling wobbly. I'm going to not try and look at you while I do this so I can keep my balance. So let's come back. If you've got your knee on the earth, then simply lower, reach forward and come back up. So this is what you're doing if you have your knee on the earth. And if you have your knee lifted, again, Anjaneyasana, exhaling. And finding the earth, inhaling. So I'm going to focus now. Let's do this 3 times, wherever you are. And I think I've done a bit more than 3. So clearly being logical is not my thing today. That's because I'm all emotional with the moon energy. And then let everybody come back into our low lunge with a knee on or off the earth. Now let's bring our hands to the earth. You may need to lift your knee here now because we're going to turn our body along the long edge of the mat coming into Skandasana. Remember your variations for Skandasana. Left leg extended, toes pointed. You can be low, resting your sit bone on your heel of your right foot. You could be sitting on a block. Where are my blocks? Here are my lovely blocks. Perfectly positioned for me. Or you could be in a variation where you're sitting on blocks, your low footstool. Or remember, you could be crouching down low over the right leg. My right leg's doing it now. So let's walk all the way across over to the left, whichever variation you're doing. High, low, or seated. And then let's go back over to the right, over to the left. Just a little flow here. And you can add your own little flavor to it. And where we're going to end up is over on the left. Take a moment here and then let's turn so we're facing the back end of the mat now. Our left foot is in front here. So remember we were over here with the right foot in front. Now we have here our left foot in front. And again, yogi's choice, that right knee lifted or on the earth. Inhale, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, flow forward, arms reach alongside you. You can keep the ball or the toes of that right foot on the earth. I'm going to watch out for my Christmas tree because I may well hit it. Work out how far my head goes forward. I'm really worried about my Christmas tree. Let's have a look. Oh, that's okay. So let's flow here 3 times. Although my head is actually going into my Christmas tree. And then when you've got your third one, I should really create better space. Coming into your low lunge. Just bring the hands to the earth. And yes, let's do Skandasana. On the left leg, walking over to the right side 3 times in both directions. And remember, if you are high up, you're just walking your hands across and reaching through that extended leg. And if you're seated, because you can do this seated variation as well. I should always offer this option first, really, shouldn't I? So you're seated, you can simply extend one leg and then the other leg without having to move your whole body. See, make yoga your own practice. And then we all want to end up on the right side here. Turn your body. Let's step forward with the left foot to meet the right foot. Bend into your knees here. And then circle your knees one way, then the other way. So all this rotation, this movement through our joints to create fluidity. And then let's forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Uttanasana. Ardha Uttanasana with your breath. Unfold, come up to standing. And then I'm going to turn so I'm facing the long edge of my mat. Inhale to reach above your crown. Exhale, Namaskar, down the midline into trimurthi and yoni. 3 times. Thinking about what it is you wish to cultivate for the next lunar cycle or for the next year. And releasing your hands, coming into Tadasana. Standing in Tadasana for a few moments. So the full moon, the manifestation of the full moon. If you wish to come into Chandra, or Chandra mudra, you may come into your Chandra mudra, right palm by your right shoulder in Abhyasa, left palm face up, and then slightly bend in your ring, little finger, so that they're curling up. As if you're holding the full moon here between your hands. Harnessing the energy of the full moon. Listening to the feelings that arise during this practice over the next few days. Honoring your intuition, your inner knowingness. Remember, there is unity in community. And it took me a while to see that. And so for me, the path of yoga is a path of connecting with community. So that through community, I can bring healing, restoration. These new beginnings that we are going to be looking forward to, and our practice, our next practice will be focusing on the new beginnings of the new year. A time for listening, through acceptance, building trust and faith in ourselves, knowing that we are going into this period of illumination so that we are better prepared for the next year. We can set our sankalpa. We're going to come to the earth. So release your mudra. You can come to the earth as you wish. I'm going to come through Namaskar. Come onto my knees. So for me, this feels a very humble way to come to the earth. And then when you come to the earth, let's come onto the hips and transition smoothly and gracefully into, we're going to move from Nukhasan, boat pose, into moving mountain raises from the sea. So your boat pose, remember, we're all in different places. So you do the variation you want. You can leave your hands on the earth. Come onto your toes. Lift one leg and then the other leg. Lift both legs. Keep your hands on the earth. Bring your hands to your heart. You can reach out with your arms. A combination of places to come into. So I'm choosing to use Chandra mudra here with both my palms. One full breath here. Lift your heart space, lift your gaze. Imagine the moon in front of you, the full moon in front of you. And then let's come down to the earth. And make sure you're got lots of room behind you because we're going to be doing mountain raises from the sea. This is the variation of bridge pose we're going to do today. Bring your heels up towards your fingertips. As you inhale, lift your pelvic bowl so it tilts and begin to unpeel your spine off the earth. And then take one arm overhead. Exhale, lower your pelvis and your hips to the earth and bring that arm back to the earth. Inhale, lift again, taking the opposite arm up and over. And lowering that arm to the earth as you bring your hips and pelvis to the earth. Inhaling, lifting both arms up overhead as you lift your hips and pelvis. And now really connect with your Ujjayi breath. So we're going to flow through this pattern, alternate arms up and over, and then both arms up and over. Som Somaya Namaha. Som Somaya Namaha. Connect here with your word if it has come to mind already. One more here. Remember that the last one is both arms overhead. And then lowering. Hug in your knees. Gently roll from side to side in your lower back. And then let's circle our knees one way, then the other. You might open out your knees and bring them in together. Do it in reverse. So let's make circles here, going with your own pattern. Whatever feels good for you. Even do little cycles, anything that creates a little bit of movement here. And you can come into your Shavasana now, or if you want to finish your practice with me, just check out the time. Yeah, you can rock and roll in your spine. He didn't. He thought I was going to land on him. I would never land on my dog. So I have sometimes landed on my dog when I've fallen over in practice. Come into, if you're lying in Shavasana, rest easy in this pose. Take as long as you need, and always remembering to rise up. I actually have bits of pine needles in my hair. So I don't want to. So in your Sukhasana. And choose your mudra now. You can have your Chandrasana, your Chandra mudra. You can have your trimurthi for transition, change. You can have your yoni mudra for creativity, ideas or possibilities, opportunities. Choose what it is that you particularly want to connect with now. Closing your eyes, connecting with your Ujjayi breath. You can notice that you may hear it in my voice. My voice sounds slightly hoarse because I've been practicing with Ujjayi breath. And what I will do after my practice is have a long glass of water to hydrate. Because although I've been working with the water element, I've been using the energy of the water element to guide me through my practice. Eyes closed, Ujjayi breath. And visualize in your mind's eye the fullness of this moon that is shining bright above us. Som Somaya Namaha, the fullness, illumination, enlightening, brightening effect of this full moon. Allow it to light up this transition from one year to the next. Light up the relationships in your life with your family, friends, and community. Perhaps your relationship with the earth. And remember what it is that you are leaving behind, what you have learned and what you are leaving behind, so that you may leave behind perhaps separation, isolation, judgment. Perhaps you cleanse, release all of that and carry through with you all that you need going forward, a sense of shift in consciousness, a shift in the sense of power and resilience within that you may have found during this year. Closing our practice by chanting Om Som Somaya Namaha 3 times and then Om Shanti. Inhale to prepare. Om Som Somaya Namaha. Om Som Somaya Namaha. Om Som Somaya Namaha. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, yogis. Thank you for liking and subscribing to my channel. I remember when I started this year, I had 0 subscribers. I now have nearly 1,000 subscribers, which was one of my goals, so that we can have live Gong baths via YouTube, and I'm almost there. So I want to thank you all for supporting my work, for elevating and uplifting my work in any way that you can. So Dhanyavad, everyone.